Hey everyone, it's Pat from Pat Dev Music, and today we're talking about chords. Now I'm going to give you 5 tips that's going to help anybody learning chords, whether you're a beginner learning some open chords or you're learning some bar chords, or if you're more of an advanced player, it doesn't matter. I'm going to give you 5 tips that's going to make learning chords more fun. Now if you are just starting out, there's the first link in the description that's really going to help you. It's a link to the first 5 most commonly used chords that you're going to come across when you first start learning songs. So that one's really going to help. But let's dive into number 1. So my first tip is to not get too stressed. Learning an instrument is supposed to be fun. Now I know it's hard when you're first starting out. It's hard just to get that finger strength or to stand your fingers up nice and tall so that all the strings do ring out, or maybe some are ringing out and some aren't. Don't get too stressed. Just practice playing chords, play your instrument 5-10 minutes a day, work on those chords, and by the end of the week you'll be really surprised. You're gonna get better and better. That's tip number 1. Number 2, you can certainly learn all these different chords all over the neck in every different position, every different type of chord, but it's going to be so much more fun rather than memorizing chord shapes to actually use them and to play music and to play songs. So what I would highly suggest is, if you're just starting out, I'll link number 2 is to songs that you can watch one video and it will be 5 chords and it will show you how to play 5 different songs. But I would pick any song that you're interested in, find one chord in it. Let's say a song that you really like has a D chord. Whether it's a D sort of open chord or if you want to play a D bar chord. What I would be doing is I would wait for that chord. I would listen to the song, and as it's going, wait for that one chord, get ready, place your fingers, work out where you want to go, and then play. And then take them off and wait again for that next chord. Sometimes it gets so hard worrying about all these different chord shapes, but if you're just sort of starting out or you're really working on a tricky chord, just focus on that one chord. It'll be so much easier. Number 3. This is something that is always overlooked. It's great to be able to memorize every sort of different shape all over the neck, but you'll never put it together musically if you don't know what you're playing. So I would highly, highly recommend to start looking at what notes are actually under your fingertips. And if you're like, Pat, whoa, 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 Pat, I don't know how to do that. Don't stress at all, okay? Here are all the notes. They're on the screen somewhere, maybe up there, maybe down there, over there. I don't know. They'll be somewhere on the screen. Here are all the notes that you can find on the guitar. So can you see that you've got A, then you've got A sharp, then you've got B, C, C sharp, so on and so on, and underneath that you've got a flat. So they're the same note. So they have 2 different names, but it's the same thing, okay? That's a little bit of theory there. Hopefully that's not too confusing, but they're all the notes. All of those notes you find on the guitar again and again. So if you go up to an A note like the A string, A, and then the first fret is going to be A sharp, second fret B, third fret C, C sharp, D. Just follows that order, right? So it sounds quite tricky, but I'll dive in and I'll give you an example. So let's say you're playing a D major chord. Now, what you would first be looking at is you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm playing an open 4th string. That's a D note. Brilliant, I know that that's going to be a D. Next, you've got your first finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So coming and having a look, all right, well, you know that the open 3rd string is G, the 1st fret is G sharp, 2nd fret is going to be A, because you've just looked up at that list. So now you know you're playing an open D string and an A. What are the other notes? I would do that with as many chords as you can, just to actually work out what you're playing, and it will give more meaning to the overall, when you're playing different chords and when you're sort of learning songs, that overall sort of scheme of being a musician will give that more meaning. Number 4. Now this is a game that anybody can play, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, just depends what chords you're using. What I would do is I would go into Google and type in metronome. There you go, Google has an inbuilt metronome, so good. I would actually turn it down to 50 beats per minute. So let's do that. So hopefully you can hear that through my little microphone, hopefully that's coming out. So what I would do, let's just pause it because it is going to annoy us. So what I would do is I'd get the metronome ready and I would choose a chord. Let's say you're trying to learn an A major chord. Okay? Now let's say at the moment you're having trouble getting the A major chord ready and in place when songs are happening. That's fine, no problem at all. It could be this A major, it could be all the way up here, it could be a bar chord. Doesn't matter. So let's just say what you want to do is get ready to play A major. Make sure it's sort of sounding okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to press play on the metronome, you're going to strum, and then you're going to take your fingers completely off and count how many clicks or how many beats it takes you to play it again. So here we go. So for example, and you could do a count-in, you could count to 4 if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strum. 2, 3, 4. Getting used to putting your fingers back on, making sure they're all lined up. And then let's say it took you 10 clicks or 20 clicks, write that down. In the next tomorrow when you practice again, and obviously do that a couple times depending on how much time you have, or try and do that with one chord and then count the clicks and then go to the next chord between. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. A major. 1, 2, 3, 4. C major. 2, 3, 4. So you could do it between multiple chords, you could do it between entire progressions, but just count how many clicks, and the next time you do it, try and go for less clicks. It's that little game, like challenge yourself, and you'll actually be able to visually see on the piece of paper, oh, I am getting better at the instrument. It's a lot of fun to play. Number 5, write your own song. Now I know that sounds crazy. You're probably thinking, Pat, I'm not Mozart, I'm not Beethoven, I'm not Coldplay, I can't just write my own music. You definitely can. Anybody that ever wrote any piece of song or sold out stadiums or had their song play on the radio, it wasn't just their first song that they wrote. They must have written a lot of different songs or had a team behind them that have all written different songs. You don't just sort of get there. You don't just start, oh yeah, pick up the guitar, I'm a superhero. It doesn't work like that. So don't just feel like, oh, it's nothing like, you know, what I hear on the radio, it's no good. You gotta start somewhere. So let's just pick a chord and I'll give you an example. So let's say C major. The technique that you want to practice is you want to make sure that you want to try and get all of your fingers and all of the strings ringing out really clearly. So you've got your C major chord. What you're going to do is you're going to strum, make sure you can hear all the notes, and then just try plucking each string. All right, what if you take your first finger off and do it again? What if you put your first finger back? Take your third finger off. Third finger back. What if you played a little bit faster, but you picked all the strings down and then all the strings up? Sounds like a song already, and we just took one chord and tried 2 different shapes. It doesn't even matter, you don't need to fully understand the different melodies, the different bass lines that's going on. The point is, we're having a little bit of fun, we're practicing the chord, and we're making sure, hey, it's all ringing out nicely, you're having fun, you're writing songs, you're putting everything together, it's sounding great. So what if you wanted to practice your strumming? So let's say you've got like an A minor chord, and then you took your first finger off, and then you took your, let's say, third finger off, and then you put your first finger back on. So let's try that. Sounds like a song already. We were just playing around, we were just having a bit of fun. So that is it. Those are the tips. Those are the 5 tips. Are there more tips? Do you have any other lessons or advice that you want to pass on to someone else? Definitely leave that comment below. Did you have fun? Is there something that you're going to try out? Definitely let me know about that as well. But these were just 5 quick tips just to get back into playing, get back into practicing. If you're starting to get bored or guitar playing or instrument playing is starting to become a chore, just approach it from a different angle. Just try and think, I'm not really having fun right now. What can I do to spice things up and to make sure that I'm having fun every time I pick up the guitar? Because that's what it's all about. Playing an instrument is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be expressive, creative. You know, it's supposed to be all of these different fun things. Definitely not a chore. Hopefully you've had a good time. I've been Pat from Pat Dev Music, and I'll see you all again. Bye.